Hi all and welcome to episode 12 of Beat the First Man, your weekly off-the-cuff football podcast with me, Reedy. To those new to the show, thank you very much for joining us. And worth remembering, this is all done in one take. There's no fancy bits, so I don't cut bits and put bits in. Yeah, I cut a couple of video clips, that's your lot. The rest of it is all done one take, straight off the cuff. So there'll be mistakes, there'll be cock-ups, but that's part of the beauty of the show in my eyes. So subscribers, we're up to 90. We're 10 away from the 100. Come on, guys, we can get there. We've got 2 more weeks to get to the 100 before Christmas. So please, if you can this weekend, spread the word. I know a few of you did last week, so thank you so much for that. Spread it out to your friends and family. If we get to 100, it'll be a massive team effort. So thanks so much, guys. Talking of teams, you will notice that I am still wearing the Stoke Gabriel shirt for I think it's probably the 7th week running now, which can only mean one thing. Yeah, they told us on Zooming In they were going to win. No, they went down 6-0 to Plymouth Mahon, just to annoy the Twitter follower who pulls me up for my pronunciation of it. They went down 6-0. Well, I am told by Gaffer Savage and others that it was a much improved display, and actually, bar a couple of dodgy decisions, the scoreline would have been a bit closer. So today they face Ivybridge. Now, last time they played Ivybridge, it was their best result of the season. They only lost 3-0. So is today, December the 12th, the big day? Now, Stokies, it's my birthday on Tuesday, the 15th. So this would be the ultimate present to get me the victory. So, oh, hello, Ted. What do you want? You're not in here yet. You've got a message for the Stoke Gabriel players. Go on. Enough with the defeats now, lads. You've had your moment in the sun. You've had your fancy big defeats. Get out there and win. Oh, and you, Gaffer Savage, I love your voice on 606. So start using it in the change rooms and get a result. All right, thanks, Ted. So good luck to the Stokies today. Let's go and get those points, boys. The lineal European trophies, well, they remain in the same hands. So Bayern Munich, they were held by Leipzig last week. They were 3-2 down with 13 minutes to go. It was looking like the trophy might change hands. But no, they pegged it back, and as by being the current holders, they retained the trophy. They then saw off Lokomotiv Moscow midweek quite comfortably. So they go for a 10th defence of the title today when they travel to 6th place Union Berlin. So let's see if they still retain it after today. Atletico Madrid also retained their trophy, but with a couple of wins. Just get a bit of sleep out my eyes. Very early recording this, you know. Seeing off Valladolid and then Salzburg. But what a game today for the lineal UEFA Cup. So Atletico make the trip across Madrid where they'll face Real, not only in the big derby, the big Madrid derby, but also for the lineal UEFA Cup. So I think let's have a little thing today. Let's go and tag Atletico Madrid and Real Madrid on Twitter. Let's see if we can get a response from either of them. So we'll get over there and tell them it's the lineal UEFA Cup final and who you want to win. Me, I'm back in Atletico. So come on, Atletico. Anyway, I think it's time we had a bit of this. Enough. The wonderful music can only mean Tales of the Unexpected, a segment that's brought us many interesting tales, but for me, this is one of my favourites. I've not got anything down here other than my notes. I just have to keep checking them, so I don't want to forget anything and you miss out on all the good stuff. So we head to Bremen in Germany last weekend, where Werder Bremen were taking on Stuttgart in the Bundesliga. The visitors from Stuttgart have got a 1-0 lead following a penalty by, and I make no apologise for not looking at you while I read my notes for this one, by the wonderfully named Silas Wamangituka Fundu. Perfectly pronounced, I'm sure, in a game which has already seen 6 yellow cards as we head into the 91st minute. Oh, he's back again. All right, Ted, you look like you're trying to take over today. I'm not going to lie. What is it now? Roll VT? Okay, roll VT. So, the eagle-eyed amongst you may have noticed that the video from this morning was taken down due to copyright reasons. This must make me one of these. So, The Bundesliga has now been blacklisted. We won't be talking about them at all now during the podcast. They can do one, the German Premier League. So the goal might accidentally fall onto the social media platforms if you want to see it. But basically, to talk you through it, our mate Fundu, he latched onto a long ball where the defender and the goalie total miscommunication. Fundu ran on, but rather than just slotting into the empty net, he walked the ball all the way to the goal line before stopping on the line, waiting for the keeper to get back again, and then smashed it into the empty net. So that's essentially what happened. You can find the video out there easy. If you go on Twitter and just search Stuttgart goal, you'll soon find it. Or if you go on the Beat the First Man Twitter page, I'm sure you might find it on there. So sorry that the video has been taken down, but I'll slot this little clip in instead, and back to the rest of the show. So there we are. Our friend Fundu scores with the almost perfect example of shithousing by walking the ball into the net in a top flight German game. Absolutely brilliant. The only thing that was missing for me was he didn't get on his hands and knees and head it in. I think it's fair to say the Bremen players weren't too happy. Me, I absolutely pissed myself laughing. I thought it was very funny. I can't believe he got booked, to be honest. I mean, what's he been booked for? So there was a late consolation goal for Bremen. So old Fundu, he had the last laugh. 2 goals, one of them utterly beautiful. A yellow card, 3 points stuffed up his Stuttgart jersey, an off home, and of course a starring role in Beat the First Man. Could his week possibly get any better? So that was it for Tales of the Unexpected. A beauty this week, I think. That was one of my favourites. Anyway, earlier than usual, we're going to do a bit of zooming in, and this week's got a bit of an international feel to it as we headed all the way to New Zealand. So you may remember a few weeks back we had a little competition. There was 2 lads on Twitter, Ashley and Matthias, who were battling to be super fans of the podcast. So we set a little challenge to get the most comments on the YouTube channel. They both went head to head. Then Nathan came in out of nowhere and got a load of comments. So we created 3 super fans of the show: Matthias, Ashley, and Nathan. And I thought it was time we got one of them on. So Ashley was the first up to ask, proper super fan him, really went for it. So this week, earlier on in the week, I got in touch with Matthias. I had to get him out of bed because it was quite early in New Zealand. And well, here's what he had to say.
All right.
So here we are with another bit of zooming in, and today all the way from sunny, is it sunny, Matthias?
It is summer at the moment, so yes.
Sunny New Zealand is Matthias, who was you may recall, was one of the 3 super fans that we created for Beat the First Man. We had a YouTube competition to get the most comments, and him and Ashley went head to head, and then Nathan came steaming in as well. So we decided to create 3 super fans. So when we started zooming in, Matthias was one of the first to message me and say, could he be on it? So here's your moment, Matthias. So tell me, what is a lad from New Zealand doing being such a big fan of Beat the First Man?
Well, Kian obviously, just said everywhere saying, I watched this channel, and I watched it, and it was actually really good videos. And you had Ted and everything. I enjoyed them.
What more can you ask? You see Ted every week.
Exactly. Hollywood star.
So as you know, Matthias, we also play the What's the Word game. So during this chat on the back of the board, there is a football related word, which I'll get you to try and say at some stage. So you'll buzz around, and I make no apologising for being totally stereotypical, is Kiwi. So when you see what you think the word is, you just shout out Kiwi, guess the word. It's 1 guess only. We started it as 2 guesses, but I've decided to change it to 1 guess because it's my show. So
Right.
And only Kian has got it so far. So the lads from Stoke Gabriel failed. Tom Davis failed last week. So you're 4th up. So will you be the 2nd to get it right? So
Probably not, but
we'll start with a bit of 7-Up. So sadly, the Carbonated Drinks Company haven't sponsored us just yet, but if they are watching, feel free. So 7 questions about you. So first up, who's your team, Matthias?
Well, it's a bit complicated being in New Zealand, but my family are United fans.
You better make clear which United, because the team that I support, we are the main United.
Well, no, we're the main United, Manchester United. But I also do follow the local team as well. But I'm not plastic because the local team were only founded in 2007. So,
Oh, okay. So who's your local team?
the Wellington Phoenix. They're the only professional New Zealand club, and they play in the Australian League.
All right, okay. And for the uneducated amongst us of the Australian Super League, how have they been doing recently?
Well, last year the Phoenix had their best ever season. They got into the the second round of the qualifying again, but they didn't do very well in them. So,
Yeah,
but they had a great start. But then like COVID and that, because they had to they were forced to play in Australia for the whole thing, and they couldn't play in New Zealand at all. So it's quite unfortunate, really.
yeah. But to be fair, if they've only started in 2007, it's decent progress already, isn't it? So
Yeah, completely.
yeah. So the biggest high then following we'll go with your team over here. We'll go. What's your biggest high following Man United?
Probably the 2013 win, the last Ferguson one, because it's the only one I really remember.
Yeah.
Because I was so young for all the other ones, and everything since then has been a bit sad. So,
Well, you say sad, Matthias.
well, yeah, compared to winning titles.
So go on then. So your lowest low then following Man United.
It would be quite recently. I won't say this season. Maybe last season.
Yeah.
Hard to say. But then again, Louis van Gaal was terrible. I'd say Louis van Gaal actually, because yeah, I just really didn't like him as a manager, and we were really bad.
So over here, I don't know how much you follow sort of the football phone-ins that we have over here, the 606s and the likes of that. There's a real split with Man United fans. There is a proper Ole in and Ole out camp. And even on my Twitter feed for Beat the First Man, there is a proper Ole in and Ole out split. So are you Ole in or Ole out?
The way I see it is that if Ole stays, yes, he's not good, but like I don't think it's going to get any better under anyone else.
Yeah.
So like I almost just don't really like. I just know it's not going to change.
Do you think it's an ownership problem rather than a manager problem?
Completely, because we had Mourinho, one of the best managers ever, and he couldn't win the league because he wasn't backed. So what's to say that like Allegri or Pochettino is actually going to do anything?
Yeah. No, fair call. So best player since you've been following Man United then, best player that you've seen playing for Man United? Not necessarily live, just in general.
Yeah. Even though I really don't like him anymore, I'd have to say De Gea, just because he had some incredible years.
Yeah, no.
Even though I really think he's like washed up now, like he had some incredible years.
Well, yeah, when he first came, he was really wobbly to start with, but then, like you say, the 2 or 3 seasons after that, he was unbelievable.
From after Ferguson left until just before Mourinho left, he was, one of the best in the world.
Yeah. So, worst player then since you've been following Man United?
I'd say Paul Pogba.
I can feel the Twitter keyboard boys typing as we speak.
I don't see why he's viewed as a good player. He's been nothing but a flop ever since he's come.
He's another one who seems to really, really split your fan base. There's a lot that seem to love him and a lot that are not having him at all. I'm a bit on the fence. There's some games I watch him and he looks. I mean, Saturday for an hour he was awful and did virtually nothing. But that last half hour, I think he won you the game, personally. But
yeah,
he's a strange character. He just looks like you want to shake him and just give him a bit of a wake up call. But I don't know. There's a player in there, but I don't know. The jury's out for me.
Yeah, me too. I've never been a big fan of him, and his lack of consistency doesn't help that at all.
No. So, guilty pleasure of another team that you quite like?
Well, being that my family is German, they come from the same part of Germany as Klopp comes from.
Right. Okay.
So, my entire family, even though we're all United fans, we also love Klopp.
Okay.
Which is really hard, being that he's, Liverpool and he's doing really well for them. So I wouldn't say like Liverpool are my guilty pleasure, but I do like Klopp.
Yeah, no, that's fair enough. Everyone's got a guilty pleasure. Whether people admit it or not is another thing. So at least you've been honest enough to own up.
Yeah.
So guilty pleasure or a player from another team that you quite like?
Oh, I'd probably have to go for. Oh, let me think about that. Honestly, I mean, I don't know if it's like a big guilty pleasure because like United and Tottenham don't really have a rivalry, but I really like Son.
Yeah. No, he is.
I've just always thought he's a
class.
great player and seems like a good guy.
Yeah, no, he is class. Have you watched the Tottenham documentary?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I thought he came across really well in that as well, and you couldn't help but like him.
Yeah, definitely.
He is one of those players you can't help, but he's always smiling. He's like the one that Leicester, when Leicester won the league and they had Okazaki, you couldn't help but like him because he was just always smiling. He never seemed to be miserable, so you couldn't help but like the bloke.
Yeah, but this time he's really good at football, unlike Okazaki was. So.
Oh, I live in Leicester. I have to live around these people, Matthias. You can't be saying one of their title-winning players. So, Matthias, one question. So, New Zealand is very renowned for being a big rugby country with the All Blacks. So, how have you ended up being a big football fan over there? Because, I mean, let's be honest. Do you have to find yourself explaining to people over there that we don't chase big Easter eggs about on a pitch?
Well, honestly, I'd say they're probably equally, maybe not equally, but football isn't that unpopular here, but we're just not good at it as a country.
Yeah.
Like, for some reason, we just have really good rugby players and not good football players.
But so you like if it's to take say your age group, do you think your age demographic, what would you say the split rugby football is?
With my age demographic, I'd probably say it's a bit higher in football.
Really?
Yeah, honestly, but and I do think New Zealand will be getting better at football in the future. Like we've got a good generation of players at the minute.
Yeah.
And obviously the future's coming up and all that. But yeah, it's a pretty hard one. But like I think there's more kids that play football these days than rugby.
Right. Okay, that's interesting. Because from the outside, I guess from the outside looking in, all you see is the All Blacks, and you just presume that everyone in New Zealand plays rugby.
Exactly.
My brother's from New Zealand. He's a big rugby fan as opposed to a football fan. So, I know that he's mad on his rugby. But, like you say, the age demographic, it's interesting how it's now beginning to swing towards football.
Yeah, that's what I think at least.
Which is good. It's the way forward. Enough of those big Easter eggs. You don't want to see those on a pitch.
No, not at all.
So either or. So you get two options basically, and you simply pick either or. Dead easy. So New Zealand to reach the World Cup quarter-final, or the Wellington Phoenix to win the Australian Super League?
Probably New Zealand to reach the quarter-final, just because it's impossible.
Yeah.
Like they've only ever qualified for 2 World Cups.
Yeah.
So to reach the quarter-finals would be incredible.
So you obviously you don't go in the same qualifying as Australia now, do you? Because they jumped across to the Asian one. Is that right, or am I wrong?
Yeah, I think so. So we really should qualify.
Yeah. So you'll be in Qatar if nothing else.
Although, fun fact, New Zealand were the only team in the 2010 World Cup to not lose a game.
There you go. I tell you, if we'd put that out as a quiz question, there ain't many who'd have got it right.
Yeah.
We've missed a trick there, Matthias. We could have had a super fan quiz moment. No one would have got it.
Yeah. Oh wow.
Right. So a last minute winner or a last minute equaliser if your team had been 3-0 down.
It's got to be a winner, just because winner gets you the 3 points or puts you in the next round.
Yeah.
And like, even though the 3-0 down will be like probably just as good, the winner's just it's more important at the end of the day.
Yeah, no, I'll give you that. So the most important one, which is good, we are building this up as we go along. Messi or Ronaldo?
Being a United fan that grew up, watching Ronaldo, it's got to be Ronaldo.
It's 3-1 Ronaldo now. I'm very disappointed. I'm not allowed to vote, but it would definitely be 3-2. Put it that way. So you've got the big Manchester derby this weekend. So United or City, who's winning?
I mean, they're both having pretty poor seasons, aren't they?
Yeah.
Is it at Old Trafford or the Etihad? Do you know?
Old Trafford.
Oh, then it's even more questionable because we're so inconsistent at home. Honestly, I think it might be a draw this time, but that's just because we're both really poor this season. So, and I can't really pick a winner.
I'll let you into a little secret, which obviously won't be a secret when this goes out because it'll come on before Guess v Knowledge. But that is this week's Guess v Knowledge game is the Manchester Derby. So I've been pretty much stitched up there. I think been given that one.
Yeah, basically have.
So VAR or no VAR?
I think VAR can be good, but I don't understand how they mess it up. Like it seems like such a straightforward system that should be consistent, but it's not.
Have you got it in the Australian League or not?
We do, yes.
And so obviously you see that league and you compare it to the Premier League. How is the Australian League dealing with VAR in comparison to the Premier League, who are just making an absolute arse of it?
It's still pretty bad.
All right,
Like
okay.
there's still some, very questionable moments. It's probably a bit more consistent than the Premier League,
Yeah,
but it's far from perfect.
yeah. Are you having the armpit offsides and things like that, like we're having, or?
Not as much. It's more like, goals that just, would never be checked beforehand, that kind of stuff.
Cool. Go
Yeah.
on, sorry. That's the only problem with Zoom. You get that little bit of pause and you hear somebody speaking, you stop and let them speak and then you cross.
Yeah.
So lineal European Cup or or Champions League?
I've got to say lineal European Cup.
Again, is the correct answer. Everybody's got that one right so far. It's amazing.
Yeah.
So, Ted or Paddington Bear?
Oh, Ted, of course.
Right, so this just takes us on now to your ultimate five-a-side team, which now, I'm not going to lie, me and Kian are both looking forward to this five-a-side team because obviously based in New Zealand, I don't know how much you've been over in the UK and watched football in the UK. I don't know what other countries you've been to watch football. So you could just be exclusively players in New Zealand. I don't know. So we'll kick it off and we'll see how many we surprises, how many that we've heard of, and we'll go.
Okay.
From there. So we'll start with your goalkeeper then.
Yeah. So this is one you will not have heard of.
Okay.
He's the Stefan Marinovic. He's the New Zealand main goalkeeper.
Yeah.
He played in the MLS up until last season where he signed for the Phoenix and he did really well. He best ever goalkeeper for them.
Yeah. And where's he from? What country is he from?
He is New Zealand. He's for Kiwi, naturally.
Yeah.
Yeah. But he played in the MLS for I think Seattle Sounders.
Right, okay. And so he's just done MLS and then the Aussie League. He's not been into Europe at all then.
I don't think so, no.
Okay, cool. So we'll move on to your only defender. I'll keep getting the two defenders and the one defender mixed up. So your only defender.
Stephen Taylor.
Stephen Taylor, the Newcastle one.
Yeah, because he signed for the Phoenix in 2019. He only played 2 seasons, but he was absolutely incredible.
Yeah.
Like he was captain in our last season as well. And he just suited the A-League so well, and he was absolutely brilliant.
He was so wholehearted as a player in Newcastle. He just gave it. You knew what you got with him. He just gave everything every single week. And yeah, he'd make mistakes, and yeah, he'd get caught out. But you knew what you got with him. And I'm pretty sure Newcastle fans would take a bit of that right now, to be honest, in comparison to what they've got. So, good shout. And one with most people will have heard of, I'll go with, Matthias.
Yeah.
So the first of your 2 midfielders.
All right, so both of my midfielders you would have heard of because I doubt you'll know this, but in 2015 there was the Under-20 World Cup actually in New Zealand, and obviously I went to quite a few games of that. So these players are both from there, and they're good now. So the first one is Milinkovic-Savic.
Great shout.
Who's in Lazio now? Yeah.
Yeah, Serbian midfielder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I actually only Googled it just before the call that he was in the Under-20 World Cup. So
I'm just going to have to point out, just being Scottish, and it's taken us so long to qualify that we did knock Serbia out of the playoffs. So thank you. We are in the Euros. Just in case any of my English friends have forgotten.
I hope you beat England in the Euros as well. That would be brilliant.
You'll get me shot. I'll be taken off YouTube.
We need that though. Brilliant.
So Milinkovic Savic, that's a great shout. So at that time, obviously, at the time you didn't know who he was or what he was going to be, but did he stand out particularly head and shoulders in that game, or?
Not really, because I won't lie, like going to the games, I didn't really care about the teams. I just wanted to like go to football games because New Zealand isn't the best for live football, so any live football was just brilliant.
Yeah. So no, that's okay. Good shout. That's not bad. Not bad. Well, he'll certainly get in some of these side teams so far, definitely. So, so your second midfielder.
Julian Brandt, the German. He plays for Leverkusen.
Yeah.
Yeah. I really like him, and he was obviously in the Under-20 World Cup as well.
Yeah.
And I remember he was actually a standout player. I remember he scored some good goals and everything.
So, so have you followed? So those two, obviously. I mean, I know Milinkovic Savic. You said you Googled before you went on to make sure they had played in it. But with Brandt, did you have you followed him since that, or is it one that you've just kind of realised that actually I might have watched him play when he was at the Under-20s World Cup?
Well, I realised it a couple of years ago, and since then I've like followed him.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I could have chosen a couple more, but I probably wouldn't choose them. Like Andreas Pereira, I could have said, but I think he's a bit, useless. So.
Is that the West Brom one?
No, he's the United one.
Oh, the United one.
Yeah.
Right, okay. So that just leaves your striker. Now you're from New Zealand. You've got one of the ultimate centre forwards that you could choose if you've seen him play. That he was at Leeds for a few years. So if your centre forward is not Chris Wood, then you've obviously not seen him play.
I have seen Chris Wood play.
And you've not picked him?
No, I've not picked him. I've gone for a Wellington Phoenix legend.
All right, okay. Who have you gone for?
He's Fijian. His name is Roy Krishna.
Roy Krishna.
He's currently playing in the Indian League, but he was up to the Phoenix for 5 years, and he's super fast. He's Fijian, so he's super fast. He was absolutely incredible. And even though I have seen Chris Wood, I'd have to go for Krishna, even though I said Kean was an idiot for not choosing Chris Wood.
Yeah, you did. You called him out for not picking Chris Wood.
Yeah, but I have to go for Roy Krishna.
So just on the Chris Wood thing, so obviously he's probably the most famous New Zealand player over here at the moment by far. So do people in New Zealand follow what Chris Wood's doing pretty closely, or is it just one of those things where he's just a lad who's doing all right in the Premier League?
Not as much as you'd expect, like more like the second one. Like people go, there's a Kiwi in the Premier League, and but you don't have many Burnley fans. You'd think that you would. You'd think that Chris Wood would like inspire a generation, but it hasn't really happened. It's kind of sad, really. But
yeah, and does he still come back and play all the national team games?
We don't play many games, but yeah, he does when we play in the national team games. Yeah. We were going to play England, but the friendly got cancelled because of COVID-19.
Yeah, you were due to play him in a friendly one. They swapped it for Wales, didn't they, or something?
Yeah, I really wanted to see Chris Wood absolutely destroy Maguire, but we weren't that lucky.
So I'm going to safely predict that is going to be a unique five-a-side team that no one else is going to have any of those five. Milinkovic Savic might squeeze into one team, somebody else somewhere along the line, but I'm going to call it now that nobody has any of the other four.
Probably not. No,
definitely not. You're going to be along with Mark from Stoke Gabriel with his Grimsby Town players. I'm pretty confident your team is safe. So, being a Man United fan, and obviously the host of the show being a big Leeds fan, you've got in 2 weeks' time, finally, we get to play each other again. Man United Leeds, big rivalry goes back years and years, way before you were born, the rivalry goes back.
Yeah.
And my era, I was really going to watch Leeds in sort of the early 90s when Leeds won the title in 92, when we went head-to-head with Man United for the whole season, ding-dong right to the very end. And there was a fierce rivalry between the two sides. It's not really died away, even though we haven't played as much. I think the rivalry is still there, and both sets of fans still sing about the other sets of fans. Obviously, we played in the FA Cup a few years back at Old Trafford. We won't mention who won, but it was us. And then, and then you came and beat us in the League Cup a couple of years later at Ellen Road. So, but this is the first proper one, I would say, because it's a League one on the 20th. So, how confident are you that you're going to turn us over at your place on the 20th?
Well, because there'll be like some fans in the stadium, right?
Yeah, I think you're probably, because I think Manchester's still tier 3. So unless Manchester drops to tier 2, then there won't be any. But if Manchester drops to tier 3, then I think they can have 2,000.
Right. Okay. So, even without the fans, there won't be anything. But with their current form, because Leeds, although they're a promoted side, they're one of the better promoted sides, you know. Like, you got Calvin Phillips and everything. But I do think we could win, but then I do think when we play you at Ellen Road, it'll be much harder.
Yeah, well, I think hopefully by the time we get to, because I think Ellen Road is due in March or April. So the hope has got to be, you know, and not just for Leeds Man United, for games all over the place, the hope has got to be that we can at least be getting up to somewhere near 50% of crowds back in games. Because,
yeah.
I mean, New Zealand and Australia, you've got crowds back at everything, haven't you?
Yeah, we've got concerts and everything.
Yeah.
No masks.
So you've got no masks, you have full houses for rugby and football matches.
Yeah.
There's no social distancing at the games or anything.
No. I haven't been to any myself, but
no. I mean, it's a little bit easier because you have to fly there to get there. You can't just get a boat and drive over. So it's a little bit easier to police it, I guess. But that's, you know, if nothing else, it should give people in the UK a little bit of hope that it will come back and we will all be back in grounds. It's coming. It's just a case we've got to be patient. As frustrating as it is, it's just got to be patient and we'll be back in. But yeah, fingers crossed. By the time we get to the Ellen Road game, there'll be say at least half of the crowd in, which would be decent because it's an atmosphere the Premier League's missed. You know, I'm a little bit biased being a Leeds fan, but I think the Premier League will only be enriched by our fans' home atmosphere because there's a lot of Premier League grounds which are just not going to have seen anything like it.
Yeah, I do think with even 50% of your atmosphere that, you know, Harry Maguire walking out onto that will not be able to cope and we would get absolutely destroyed if you had even 50% of fans. So
okay, so Matthias, I have to say it's been brilliant. I've loved it. It's been nice to catch up with you, mate. And you know, thanks for being a big fan of the podcast. It's much appreciated. And keep watching, keep spreading the word because you know the more we can grow it, the better guests I can get on, the more equipment I can afford to buy. So you know, we will start improving it and getting better and better. Which leads to beautiful link is next week's Zooming In for everybody. We've got no less than Ben Hope, who's the bass player of top Leeds band Apollo Junction. So Apollo Junction they're going to be big. They're going to be very, very big. They've already had one album out, which is Tops. So Ben will be on here next week and he will be talking about the Leeds Man United game. He's specifically on because he's a massive Leeds fan. So we're going to have a little bit of Leeds indulgence next week, I'm afraid. So you're going to have to soak up 15 to 20 minutes of talk about Leeds United and Man United. But also he's going to talk about his music and what they're doing and where you can find the music. So I'm really excited that we've got him on. The feeders are out for a few more people to come on as well. So all being well, that going forward, we'll have some really good guests on here. That's the plan anyway. So, Matthias, thanks again for coming on. Appreciate it, mate. Appreciate your support. And we'll catch up soon. And back to the show.
So there you go. You may have noticed that I forgot to reveal what's the word. You can guess he didn't get it because he never shouted Kiwi. But his word was, for those of you interested, pitch. And he never got it. So... what now? Ted, what now? Look, let me just explain to you. You do Little Knob of the Week, nothing else. Today you've been on the Stoke Gabriel bit, Tales of the Unexpected, and now Zooming In. What's going on and why have you got a plaster on? That was from last week as you do your own stunts. What, when you did the Jack Grealish dive? Yeah, that's the one. Ted, believe it or not, Ted, and I have to point this out, some people actually thought that I just threw you across the room and that wasn't proper acting. How dare they? You're a Hollywood film star, and as if you would just allow yourself to be thrown across the room. I know, that's what I said. So Oh, you're going to do more acting at the end of this bit. Okay, brilliant. We'll look forward to that. So anyway, Ted, well, as you're here, we might as well do Little Knob of the Week. So who's been nominated this week? Just the one nomination, and he's winning. No two ways about it. Ah, come on then, my little friend. Who is it? Me? Yeah, you. Well, what? Oh, come on, what have I done? There's been loads this week. You could have that fourth official, the Romanian guy, but we're all about fun and laughter on this show, so we're trying to avoid that really. But respect to the Istanbul and PSG players for doing what they did. So why have I got it? You didn't announce the word on zooming in. I know I didn't. I've just shown people the word now. Does it really matter that I've shown them after the event? I did show Mateus after we'd finished filming. Doesn't matter. You've got one job. All you got to do is show the word. That's it. Ted, I have to ask all the questions. Mateus didn't just talk to himself. I had to ask him the questions. Tough. You are Ted's Little Knob of the Week. Looks like I've won it. Can't believe it. I'll add it to my list of footballing trophies from over the years. It can go next to the other one. So Ted, you mentioned a bit of acting. So what are you going to do for us? I mean, last week we saw the Jack Grealish dive. I thought it was pretty special, to be honest. I can't believe that some people weren't impressed. So what you got for me this week? You're going to be a superhero. Oh, hang on, I'm going to get comfy for this. So which one are you going to be? You're going to be Batman, Spider-Man, Ant-Man? Which one? Superman. Brilliant. One of my favourites. Come on then, Ted. Okay, I'm ready. Okay, so this is Ted, Hollywood star. You may have seen Ted 1, Ted 2. If you're just new to the show, that's who it is. He can't talk because I got him off eBay and I haven't got the license for him speaking. No, it's not just a random teddy bear. It's Ted from the Hollywood films. The bloke told me on eBay, he wouldn't have lied. I'm ready. Come on, get on with it. Okay, right, so Ted doing Superman. See you next week, Ted. So there we go. So on to Guess v Knowledge. And last week, you may remember, we had the Tottenham v Arsenal game to predict. We both went for a victory for Tottenham. Although Guess, aka the wife, she was cheering Arsenal on for the second half, knowing that one goal would have given her all 3 points. But it wasn't to be. So at the moment, it is Knowledge 8, Guess 7 as we go into this week. This week, George Powell was the lucky person to be picked out, and he's picked the game, and rather beautifully, he's picked the Manchester Derby for us to predict. Thanks very much, George. Tracy, well, she was again wrapped up in the crown. She's actually done now, so she might start paying this a little bit more attention, taking it a bit more seriously. So when she dragged herself away from Prince Charlie and the rest of them on the box, she's gone for a 2-1 City win. I think this is our toughest ask of the season. I've got to say, I think this is the toughest one we've been asked to call, because on their day, the Red Half of Manchester have been brilliant. On other days, they've been absolutely shocking, and you just do not know which team's going to turn up. On the blue half of the City, on their day, they can destroy anybody in Europe. But they've had so many off days this season, and you just think if the two collide in the wrong way, it could get messy for either team, to be honest. I think City are clicking. I think they're just getting into gear. They're showing signs that they're tighter at the back. They're showing signs they're just beginning to start creating those chances. And, you know, Aguero is getting back. I know Pep's already said that he's not going to be starting in the derby, but if he's on the bench and he can come on, I just think City are going to have too much. I just can't see them not winning today. I just think they're going to have too much. I'm going to go for a City 3-1 win. I realise this is probably to come back and bite me on the arse later on today. Ollie has actually got quite a good record against City. I think he's got 3 wins in 4 games. So it genuinely wouldn't surprise me if Man United beat them. But I'd say I'm going for a City 3-1 win. So we'll see how it pans out. So that's us pretty much done for this week, but I've got some majorly exciting news for you for next week. So on Zooming In, as promised a few weeks back, I've been in discussions with them for a little while via Twitter messages and the likes, but it's now confirmed 100%. We will have a member of top Leeds-based band Apollo Junction. These boys are fantastic. If you've not listened to their music, genuinely, go on Spotify this week, search for Apollo Junction. Their album's called Mystery. It's an absolute belter of an album, and they will go far. These boys are going to go to the top, trust me. They are a top band and well worth listening to. So next week, bassist Ben Hope, who's a massive Leeds United fan, he really is, he will be joining us. He'll be talking about the band's music. He'll be talking about his love of Leeds United, and of course he will be picking his ultimate five-a-side team that he's seen live. So really excited. I'm so chuffed. It's for a podcast which is 12 weeks old, to get a decent guest on like that, to add to the ones we've already had, I'm really pleased. Just looking one step ahead now, I am aware that episode 14 would land on Boxing Day, but here's a treat for you. You're going to have a Christmas Eve special. You're not going to have a Boxing Day one. You're going to have a Christmas Eve special. I might even do it a bit later in the day, so I might film it a little bit later in the day, and I might even have a couple of bevies before I do it. That would make it even more interesting, wouldn't it? Who knows? Should we go live? Who knows? So, as always, thanks so much for watching, guys. Down the bottom, thumbs up. Don't do that one. You all got it right last week. No one did that one, so it's that one, and the little one that says, it's down here somewhere. Subscribe. Click that one. Like I said, get it out to your friends and family, please. Let's try and get to the 100. Honestly, it would mean so much. If anyone thinks I'll make money off of this, let me just put it into perspective. You have to have 1,000 subscribers before you even get advertised, become a partner, and you have to have over 4,000 hours worth of viewing. Trust me, I'm about 3 years away from that. So genuinely, please get to 100. That'll mean that if I can get to 100 for Christmas, I'll be so chuffed. So thanks again for watching, guys. Please stay safe, and we'll see you all next week. Take care.